Alright guys, today we're going to do some stained glass. We're going to use your initials to do it, or you could use your first letter of your first name or your last letter of your last name to do this project. We're going to be doing it on transparencies. First thing we're going to work on today is coming up with a design and using block letters for your design in the middle. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to practice a little bit doing some of those block letters. So we're just going to try A, B, and C to see if you guys can do those, and then we're going to get into the design part. So on the back side here, so here's a really cool technique. I'm going to do an A first of all, and I'm just going to write it regularly by doing it with just a line. Now to make this a block letter, we want to have it thick, and so we want to turn it into a shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to outline it, coming in a little bit, kind of like an echo line, and it creates a shape. Now in the middle of the A here, I'm going to put a little triangle because we need to make sure we fill in that space. And then if you'd like to, you could erase it, that middle line, because you don't need it anymore. And then you're left with the block letter A. Let's go ahead and try a B now. Okay, for this one I'm going to go around the outside and then I'll come in the middle. So I'm just going to go a little bit bigger. And then on the middle, I'm going to do, it's almost like a capital D to fill in that area. When I erase it, I'll be left with a block letter B. Now as you get better at this, you might not have to do it this way. You could do it just on your own, creating block letters. But this is a great way to get started to see it. Let's do one more together. Okay, start off with a C. And this one's pretty easy. For this one, you could do a different little technique. I'm just going to come in, draw a line that comes in on each side, and then I'm going to connect it. Okay, and you could do that with certain letters, but not all of them. Okay, so that works for that one. Now, if you turn your paper over, we're going to draw the design for your stained glass. So you're going to choose your initial. For my case, I'm just going to do a V, and I'm going to put a large one right in the middle here. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to write a regular V, and then I'm going to do that echo line around it. And when you do this, do it pretty big. You don't want to have it small because we're going to be putting some black glue that's a little bit harder for details. Okay. So after that, in the background, I'm just going to come up with some extra lines to add some details into my work. So I could do curvy lines. I could do straight lines. And I wouldn't overdo it, again, because we don't want to do too many details. And maybe this one kind of comes around. If you have any big areas, it might be a good idea to just kind of fill those in. All right, I kind of like that design. I'm going to go with it. We don't have to, like if you want to erase this in the middle, you can, but you don't have to because we're just using this as like a guide because we're going to put the plastic transparency on top of it. Okay. Now the next thing, it's going to be important that you have a paint edger or a messy mat underneath. This is going to help to hold it while you work on your work here, and if you go a little bit off the edge, it's okay to get on to the side here. What we're going to do is we're going to take some of that black glue. Might be a good idea to shake it up a little bit before you begin, because sometimes that it settles on the inside. The paint and the glue kind of separate from one another. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to test a little bit on this testing paper, just to make sure I have a nice line. What you want to do is hold it down and practice seeing if you can make a line. Okay, we don't want to hold it up here and have a big glob come out. We want a nice black thick line. And the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to outline all of this, all of my details, and it actually goes down pretty good. I'm actually having my the glue bottle is actually touching the plastic transparency. We don't want to have too much glue because it will start to move and get a little bit wider as it dries. Really take your time on this part, making sure that things are as even as you can. All right, at this part now, or at this point, what we could do is we got to leave it, okay? So we're going to be setting it on the ground. If we put it on the drying rack, it might start to move, so we're going to have a different place for you to set it. And then when you come in next time, we'll be doing the color part, filling in the areas with the permanent markers. All right, guys, good luck with your work today.